is, what is the International Coach Federation?
So, International Coach Federation, as I know it, it's a body that's attempting to regulate coaching. You'll probably be able to explain that better than me, John. They've got thousands of coaches as part of their membership. So the International Coach Federation kind of is attempting to put some kind of framework and regulation in place to give coaches out there, I guess, a bit of a status as well. I'm a certified coach and I'm accredited coach. So for example, you would get certified with Coach Training EDU, which is an accredited body. So they have a number of organizations under the International Coach Federation. Doesn't deliver the training themselves in that sense, but they accredit organizations such as Coach Training EDU to deliver the training for them. What they do is they have the competencies and framework in place so that we can have some kind of measure and some regulations around competencies and qualities to hold coaches accountable to, so that you can get certified in line with a certain standard and a certain level of training, so that you can put a structure and a framework around it. And then you can be a member of the International Coach Federation, or you can take your certification to them and get accredited, which a lot of coaches love, because you then have those letters after your name. You can become the Associate Certified Coach, ACC, Professional Certified Coach, PCC, Master Certified Coach, as we have John here, who is one of our MCCs and Masters, and what I am working towards myself. But what I find with the ICF as well is, because it is a body that is attempting to put this framework around the coaching world, it kind of gives coaching a lot more credibility out there. I mean, in Europe, you have the EMCC as well. What am I missing, John? What else would you add?
No, that's complete. Yeah, that is it. That is what the ICF is doing. They are a nonprofit attempting to provide standards for the coaching field. I think the origin story of it is fantastic. It was founded in 1995, and it came out of a competition almost, or two competing coach training organizations deciding that standards needed to be had. And it was, I feel like it's an achievement. It's a human achievement to have a nonprofit organization like this that does have ties to other organizations, and it's attempting to really create standards for coaching. There's also the health board that's recently come up in the last couple of years that has even more strict standards around coaching and specifically health and wellness coaching, that is now in the process of looking at coaching as something that you could charge health insurance for. And Coach Training EDU is in the process with the health board to get accredited through them as well. I think what's going to happen with the ICF is they're going to continue to expand. A lot of their strength is in being early, being one of the first organizations to put standards together. Their global reach is impressive. They're in so many different countries, and they just have a lot of members, a lot of people are involved. What I see, the health board, they have it's amazing that you could even have this conversation of using health insurance to pay for coaching. That's amazing. I think what's going to happen is a state in the future is going to regulate coaching, and that will just make it even more substantial. And other education institutions are also going to adopt more coaching. But what's interesting is those education institutions that are doing that, they're also using either the health board or the ICF as one of their standards as well. It really has, really set the standard for what coaching is in the field. So, yeah, I think the ICF is, it will play a role in whenever a state adopts coaching. The ICF standards will be one of those that will set the foundation for whatever the state chooses to do. It's exciting. I feel like it's a really exciting time to be in the field because it's growing. And what's happening now is that there's a specialization happening. If the health board thing starts to really take off and insurance gets, it becomes a thing, that is just a huge, huge opportunity for the coaching world.
Yeah. And it certainly makes you more desirable as a coach if you've been through a training program, like with Coach Training EDU, 6 months of a training program where you have committed yourself to learn, but also be vulnerable as a human being, because I love my whole experience at Coach Training EDU, because not only was I training to be a coach, but I was learning so many new things about myself, which I didn't think I fully understood before I went in to the training. Why is it created that way?
I think part of it is I have a teaching background, and I think I approached, when I was coach trained, I love my training. I went through CTI, and it was influential. It really had a big impact on me. I also went through NLP training with Linda Campbell, who's based out of Seattle. And I just did extensive research and some acting training as well. A lot of coaching comes from acting, the different ideas of, narrative therapy, just narratives, perspectives, even persons of listening, things like that from NLP. And I went through this really intense period of study and tried to learn as much as I possibly could. And I designed the whole training specifically to help coaches work with young people, which no one else was doing, and very few people are doing now. And it just sort of, it just went. And when I designed it, I really wanted to create something that was as interactive as possible, because that's where people learn the best, is when you do the things. So it came out of this online, I developed it completely, no in person. And this is back in 2009, no in person, because it was too hard to get people interested in life coaching and working with youth. It was too hard to get enough people in one physical space at the same time to make that happen. So by necessity, I had to design a program that was online based. And I had Gina from Boston and Rawan from Dubai both contact me within a couple of weeks of each other, both asking if I could train them to be coaches. And I thought, this is a sign from the world that it needs to happen. So I said, okay, let's try it. And that was the start of it. It was Rawan on Skype and Gina through speakerphone. And it was Monday mornings, early Monday my time, because Dubai was a full 12-hour time shift from the West Coast. And that was the start. It was very minimal, very much me just talking about what I was doing with students. And I had already developed a workbook for young people. And that was really helpful as a guide. And since now, we have whole learning management systems. We have 150-page trainer guides that go along with the 300-page guide for coaches that go along with all this audio recordings and everything. So it really has grown organically from that very small, humble beginning to where it is today. But at the heart of it, I wanted to always make it as interactive as possible, and to share as much of what I've learned in this journey with the participants going through it, so they could also be successful in establishing their own practices. And that is part of the heart of the mission of Coach Training EDU, is to provide an immersive, transformative experience, and then also give as many resources as we can, examples as we can, so that people can go out and be as successful in establishing their own practices. That's the vision of how I chose to spend my professional life changing the world. And here we are today. It's happening. And it's dreamy, like it's extremely dreamy. Sometimes I have to remind myself that this is real, and impact can be real, and the lives are being changed through the coaching profession. And I feel so grateful to have found coaching when I did, to have Amois, have her in there, and then to have this team is amazing. I feel like the team at Coach Training EDU it's remarkable when you have a group of people who are aligned around a mission, aligned around a common experience of what coaching has done in their own lives, and then has a commitment to work together to create that. And that's what we have right now. And it's growing. And I feel like we're just beginning, even though we've been doing it for 12 years. There's still that element of excitement and, I don't know, just, we can do this. It can happen. It's a lot of work. It's hard. It's not always easy. And I do cry bitter tears and I'm stressed out a lot of the time, but on a larger level, let me take a step back and look at this. The very real experience of changing a life one at a time is so motivating that I can't imagine doing anything else